The head of the UN nuclear watchdog says he's increasingly concerned for the safety of Europe's largest nuclear power plant, which is occupied by Russia in southern Ukraine. There's increasing concern about a major Ukrainian nuclear plant under Russian occupation. The UN nuclear watchdog said military action at the site posed a threat to people and the environment in Ukraine and beyond, and that it needed immediate access to the site. The Ukrainian operator says parts of the Zaporizhzhia plant have been damaged in Russian strikes. Our correspondent Hugo Bechega is in Kyiv and is following developments.
It's really hard to independently confirm those claims coming from both sides because the Zaporizhzhia power plant has been under Russian occupation since the beginning of March, even though Ukrainian technicians have been operating the facility. Now, yesterday, Ukrainian and Russian officials have traded accusations. The Ukrainians say that Russian forces shelled the site, and then one of the reactors had to be disconnected from the system as a result of one of those attacks. Now, the Russians deny these allegations. They say that the Ukrainians are the ones behind these attacks. Now, for days, we've been hearing from Ukrainian and US officials who say that the Russians have essentially turned this nuclear power plant into a military base, and they're launching attacks against Ukrainian positions from this site. And the mayor of a nearby city told me that essentially what the Russians are doing is that they're using this site as a nuclear shield.
Hugo Bechega there. Let's speak now to Mark Cancian, who's senior advisor at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. He's a former US Marine colonel. Joins me from Arlington, Virginia. And just tell me what you make of these comments by the UN nuclear watchdog that there is a very real risk of nuclear disaster after the shelling at this plant.
Well, the plant is essentially on the front lines of combat here, so it's in a very bad spot, and nuclear power plants are very sensitive facilities. There's risks of local contamination, and the Ukrainians rely on this for a large part of their electricity. So it is a very dangerous situation. It's being run by the Ukrainian operators, but one suspects that the usual management oversight, operator training, and many of the safeguards are not in place. I think everyone would feel a lot better, would reduce concerns if some outside inspectors could come in and see what's going on at the plant and reassure everyone that, in fact, that operation is safe.
Yeah, it's being claimed that Russia is using the site to launch attacks. So Ukraine is sort of saying that Russia has turned the plant into a military base and is using it as a kind of nuclear shield. With that information, what do you make of the claims from both sides that it's the other that has done this shelling?
Well, the Russians are almost certainly using it as a military base and as a shield. There are pictures of Russian weapons at the site, and they're likely using it to attack Ukrainian forces. The Ukrainians are likely shooting back. One suspects that the explosions, the problems that have occurred are from Ukrainian counterfire. But as I say, this facility is on the front lines and in a very exposed and dangerous position. So it's not surprising that it's getting fire from one side or the other.
But do you think that there is a chance of some sort of Chernobyl-style disaster here?
Fortunately, there really isn't, and that's one good piece of news. This facility has a containment shield, unlike Chernobyl, and Chernobyl arose from problems on the inside, that lack of controls and operator mismanagement. That will not happen from outside shelling, but you could have contamination, local contamination, as nuclear substances are released, and it would be very damaging for the Ukrainian economy if this power plant were permanently put out of operation.
And just then, more widely speaking, how do you see this conflict playing out?
Well, we seem to be moving into a stalemate. The Russians have been making some progress in the east. They've been attacking there for really the last 2 months. Those operations have essentially come to an end. The Ukrainians are reported to be getting ready for a counteroffensive to the west of the power plant in the Kherson area. Whether they can pull that off is going to be a tough question. They've been on the defense so far. That's much easier than offensive operations. Their troops are not very skilled at those kinds of operations. We certainly hope that they have success, but it's going to be very difficult, a different kind of fight than they've been having before.
Okay, thank you very much for coming on the programme. Appreciate it. That's Mark Cancian, former US Marine Colonel. Thank you.